Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, and thank you for tuning back into St. Andrew TV, a cure for your Monday blues. I am your host, Andrew, and today we are going to be learning how to thumb our revolver. This information came to me from the late, great Bob Munden, who knows a thing or two about Colt single-action armies. What the concept of thumbing your revolver is to cock, draw, and fire your gun with just one hand. Yeah, something like that. And if you follow me along, I'm going to teach you how to do it. Before we get any further into this video, we are just practicing how to thumb our revolver like Bob Munden. So the first thing we're going to do is take our iron here, place it in a half cock, and check if our gun is empty, which mine is. I am indoors, so putting anything inside of any of the chambers would be wildly irresponsible and very, very dangerous. So for the sake of this lesson of how to thumb your revolver today, we are going to do the heavy lifting inside, and then at the end, I'm going to show you what it looks like in action. So as I previously mentioned in the introduction, this is cocking, drawing, and firing your gun in one motion with one hand. I am right-handed, that is my dominant hand, therefore my pistol is on my strong side. So what we're going to do first is get in position. As Bob describes it, this is the proper starting point for thumbing your revolver. Your hand is completely off of your holster. So the next step of the process, given that you are in a circumstance that you're waiting for a signal to fire, or if you're just practicing this along with me, taking your thumb as your hand is still off the holster and engaging that hammer with your thumb. You are cocking it all the way back with it still in the holster. Now you know why I said no live ammunition when you're practicing thumbing your revolver in the safety of your own home. So in one fluent motion, as you cock that hammer back with your thumb, you are going to get a good grasp of your grip. And that's when you start bringing the gun out like so and getting it to a firing position. Notice that my finger never went inside that trigger guard. The only time that you are going to slide your finger inside that trigger guard right there is when you are up here ready to fire. Otherwise, you could make your leg resemble something like Swiss cheese, and we're not here to do that. Even if you do this with blanks, that powder is still piping hot, the stuff that didn't get burned up, and it still can find its way into your big beauty right here. You don't want to do that. So from the side, I'm going to go over the same steps, but we are going to do it from the side here to help you see what it looks like from a better angle to see what my hand is doing. So as we start, hand off the holster, see your target, and the signal goes, or for the sake of it, just pretend that a signal goes off. You are going to thumb, bring your gun up, and now we engage the trigger. Notice that finger still didn't go in the trigger guard before I got up here. Something like that. So you're here, pretend there's a signal. Oh, signal, thumb, bring it up, fire. Just like that. That is what you call thumbing your revolver. Obviously, Mr. Munden can do it far better than I can. He was a professional at it for the better part of 40 years, and I'm just trying to learn the techniques and try to make up some ground to where he left off. Now you notice most of this is from the hip. Actually, all of it is from the hip. and that is because it is for shooting competition where speed reigns supreme, not necessarily accuracy. That's why I said in competition shooting such as fast draw, that is probably where you're going to utilize this little technique the most. Makes a lot of sense because when I was down in Tombstone doing the Tombstone Redemption fast draw, or I guess the bank heist, I was not aware. I kind of just did it in one fluid motion. I did know my hand was not supposed to be on the holster when I started, but everything else, I tried to grab everything and bring it up, and it was sloppy and slow. This is a much easier technique. Now, there are a few things I would like to point out. This would probably go a lot better without a stock gun. And that is what Mr. Munden always advised when trying to do some of the more competitive shooting tactics, is have something that has been a little bit modified. Now you're probably wondering, what does this look like in action? And I'm sure some of you have seen Bob Munden's videos of him thumbing the revolver and shooting from the hip. And if you want a master's tutorial on it, I suggest watching Bob Munden do it because, like I said, he was a professional for the better part of 40 years. But I actually went out to the Arizona wilderness and thumbed the revolver with live ammo. And you're probably thinking, wow, that's not a very good idea. Of course it's not a good idea. However, I did take all the necessary precautions to shoot the thumbing method out in the desert with live ammunition. As I say this, I'm coming to you as a professional. I am very experienced with these firearms. I don't suggest going out and learning how to thumb your revolver with live ammunition. That is extremely dangerous. And on top of that, using a stock gun. This doesn't have the proper components to it to make it an easy feat. As you will see in the video here, I used the JM & Company holster that I had and actually pulled the gun a little bit out so I could have better access to the trigger and I can snap my thumb across the hammer to cock it. But you will see that I never put my finger in the trigger guard when I was bringing it up to this position because, like I said, I don't want to make my leg resemble Swiss cheese. And you will also notice that I'm using a Colt single action Army 3rd generation instead of the U-Birdie, so the action is actually stiffer. But now that I got that piece out of the way, here are the two separate videos of me thumbing the revolver using the technique that we just learned today. I bet you noticed that even the full speed one wasn't that fast. That is because I am not willing to lose a couple toes in the process of making a video. This was just a technique video, and I was implementing said technique, showing you how it's done in the great Arizona wilderness. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed today's video, or leave me a comment stating what you liked, or tell me what I should do next. I have a Patreon that has been opened up for a few months now. I take great pride in being community funded and community funded only. You'll never see sponsorships on these videos that I produce along with my team, so you know that the content that you see is always homegrown and grassrooted. But that is not to say to feel any obligation to donate to the Patreon, only if your means allow you to do so. The content on YouTube will forever remain free. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed as of late, but for those of you who have come across this video, maybe because you were interested in learning how to thumb a revolver, maybe you clicked it because you saw the name Bob Munden in the title and was curious what we were going to talk about today. Or maybe you saw that I got my movie poster back and thought, hey, where can I get me one of them? Think about hitting that subscribe button, because you're a daisy if you do.